Hi there.
So, welcome to our, well, whatever you want to call this little weekly thing we have going on here. We just call it dinner night. I do have to say, DP outdid himself this time with this setting. It's usually just the four of us at a booth. Mom's spaghetti smells amazing.
Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it kind of started as a bored DP talking to me while I ate and he swept the floors after dinner in the evening. Like a lot of Bleachers family things in here go, it didn't really start in earnest until Lily swept into this place on our lives.
She's clearly talented.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, she's something else, isn't she? She grew up in Diamond City with Zeke and DP. I'm sure she told you that already. But the Bleachers district didn't exist back then. Nobody had been in this area of Diamond City in almost 2 centuries until DP chased that cat in here. So Lily's really taken the Bleachers to heart. Between runs, more often than not, she's cleaning the place and making it into a home. But I digress. I guess I'm just saying Lily makes sure these dinners happen and we're glad for it. She says there's nothing like the family you choose. Even got it in her head to invite the sheriff one day as a joke, and she showed up. She almost never says anything, but she keeps coming. Huh.
Really?
Uh-huh. We never expected her to show. DP even had to scramble to get a place set. The look on Lily's face was priceless. Total shock. I'm glad she did show up, though. We had been trying to crack that ice for a while by then, and she's not the friendliest person in the Commonwealth. The sheriff isn't the type for idle chat, even on these nights, but I can see she values them as much as the rest of us, or she wouldn't keep coming.
She seems a bit rough around the edges, but nothing that would interfere with her duties.
Quite the contrary. It helps her maintain an effective force. She's very respected by her troops and a brilliant strategist. She was born and raised Brotherhood of Steel, educated and trained in the pre-war military academy tradition, if what I heard is true.
What happened?
She didn't see eye to eye with some of their more authoritarian tendencies, and tried to help a town that had water filter tech the gunners wanted. I'm told her squad repelled them, but she lost her whole arm, 4 knights, and some civilian militia by the time it was over. It was very intense. Costly victory for no strategic gain is the gist of what the Brotherhood of Steel had to say about her decision. She told me herself they made her a scribe and refused to replace the arm.
Sounds like a typical boss to me.
That's not the half of it. Her entire squad got punished too, every last one of them, bumped down to scribes, for saving some innocent lives. So they did what any principled and strategically minded squad would do in that situation.
What did she do?
Loaded 2 vertibirds up with a small plasma arsenal and over a dozen full T-60 power armor units in the middle of the night and deserted the Brotherhood of Steel.
No way.
Yep. They stayed under the Brotherhood of Steel radar until they were able to locate the Outcasts, a faction of ex-Brotherhood knights who also weren't fans of fascism. She gave them the vertibirds, they gave her an arm and her squad a home and a purpose again. It was a win-win.
What happened after that?
You mean what happened to the dozen or so T-60s she took with her, right? That's some pretty valuable cargo. That gets into how she and the power armor ended up here. That's a long story for another time, and not a particularly happy one.
Another time, maybe.
Anyway, Lily told me about how you guys went out and saved those dogs. That's pretty amazing anyone would do that in this day and age. People barely help each other, much less dogs. It makes me glad to know they'll be running around the Atom Cat's garage now.
I'm glad I could help out.
Speaking of doing odd jobs for people, I had a chance to analyze some soil test results, and I've got some work if you're still interested. I'd normally send Lily, but she'll be on that ammonia run that has that motorcycle salvage at the loading dock of Mass Chem we mentioned earlier. We can talk about it after dinner.
Sure thing.
It's good you showed up when you did. I'd rather not lean so heavily on Lily for my transport jobs. She spends a lot of time on the road already. Good evening, Sheriff. Can I safely assume Lily pestered you today while on duty to tell you about our guest of honor here?
She wouldn't be Lily if she hadn't.
Yes. Well, this is the person that helped her with that motorcycle and the dogs in that story she's no doubt told you a dozen times by now.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
Yes. Well, DP has cooked up something special tonight, as you can see. We've got razor grain spaghetti, tato sauce, and warm bread.
I'm sure it will be fine.
So, did you get a chance to see Dr. Scara about your shoulder? You mentioned the adduction was slower than usual last week.
Yes.
And?
And what?
And what was the problem? Was she able to fix it?
Yes. We hunted down an assaultron, quartered it with a ripper, and I replaced the glenohumeral joint entirely.
That's, good, I suppose.
The gunner squad it came from would argue, if they were still alive.
I assume they didn't just want to give a perfectly functional assaultron to a stranger for free, did they?
You don't ask gunners.
Good point.
I guess it all worked out.
Yes.
Did you read Piper's article about McDonough?
Yes.
And?
And what?
And what do you think of it? Do you think he's a simp?
Hard to say. Maybe.
Dr. Pensky told me never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. Do you think one can be so witless that their unwitting cooperation is so gross and negligent that it can appear to be collusion to an outsider?
Or incompetence.
Well, yes. In this case, incompetence. I suppose it is possible the witless can be such an unwitting puppet of a hostile power that it can appear like full cooperation.
Witless, huh? Let me guess which stable genius in a tan suit we're talking about here. How's it hanging, Bleacher creatures? Oh man, that's gonna be some good dinner. Hey there! Hey, I'm glad you made it out here tonight. Wasn't sure you'd be up for it since it's such a long haul